This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3, Text 32. Translation. There is nothing separate from you, whether it be better or lower, stationary or moving. The knowledge derived from the Vedic literature, like Upanishads, and from all the sub-limbs of the original Vedic knowledge, form your external body. You are Hiranyagarbha, the reservoir of the universe, but nonetheless, being situated as the supreme controller, you are transcendental to the material world, which consists of the three modes of material nature. Purport. The word param means the supreme cause, and aparam means the effect. The supreme cause is the supreme personality of Godhead, and the effect is material nature. The living entities, both moving and non-moving, are controlled by the Vedic instructions in art and science, and therefore they are all expansions of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the center as the Supersoul. The Brahmandas, the universes, exist during the duration of a breath of the Supreme Lord. Yasyaika nishvasita kalam atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanataha. Thus, they are also within the womb of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu. Nothing, therefore, is separate from the Supreme Lord. This is the philosophy of Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Tvata param na paramapyanejat ejachcha kinchid vyatiriktamasti vidya kalaste tanavascha sarva hiranya garbo sibrihat triprishtaha. There is nothing separate from you, whether it be better or lower, stationary or moving. The knowledge derived from the Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and from all the sub-limbs of the original Vedic knowledge form your external body. You are Hiranyagarbha, the reservoir of the universe, but nonetheless, being situated as a supreme controller, you are transcendental to the material world, which consists of the three modes of material nature. So, in the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This verse explains that there is a cause of all causes, and this cause of all causes is a person. It's not energy. It's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the universe, we have a law of cause and effect. There are many causes or sub-causes, or apparently there is something is a cause of something, but ultimately the cause behind everything is the will of the Lord. So if someone understands only this one point, that God is the cause of everything, it will help him so much to be less angry. Because we get angry because of people, because of circumstances, because of the weather, and we take it very personally. Why did you hurt me? Why did you insult me? But if we understand that behind that disturbing act that someone performs, there is the supreme will of our highest well-wisher, the Supreme Lord, then we will be more peaceful. And we will try to see it philosophically, see it through the eyes of the scriptures, and see it in the mode of goodness. So when we read Srila Prabhupada's teachings, we become purified, and our thinking becomes spiritualized, and we start to think like a devotee or like a pure devotee, and we start to think like saints and sages throughout the ages. We start to think everything that is in the scriptures. And when we think like that, then we also see things differently. And when something happens to us, we don't get upset because we know there must be a reason why this is happening. There must be a valuable lesson there. So this verse and the previous verse speak about all pervasiveness of the Lord. So if you understand that the Lord is everywhere, in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that devotees see the Lord everywhere, see that everything is in Him and that He is in everything. So the Lord is in every atom and He is in everyone's heart. Anantarasta paramanu chayantarastam. For example, if you are trying to be good, we are trying to be good people, we are trying to be caring, and then people don't reciprocate. So how can you think about it? You can think that, well, God is the cause of all causes, and He doesn't inspire this person to reciprocate now, in this particular point. Maybe in the future they will say something, but I'm extending my hands, I want to help, but they are just ignoring me, or they are cold, or they even think I'm their enemy. And, how can I understand this? It's very simple. We understand that this is the will of the Supreme Lord. And we don't get disturbed, and we don't criticize that person. So one has to be a little detached when he is performing, because Bhagavad Gita teaches detachment from results. You have a right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Results depend on the Supreme Lord. We take full responsibility to do things, but if there is no results, we don't get angry, because we know who is the controller of results and who will allow results to happen. We are a living entity, we are a part of God, and therefore we also have desires, but there is a supreme will, and part of the surrender of the living entity is that he accepts the supreme will of the Lord. So when something happens, we know this is the will of the Lord. The Lord is at this particular moment, the Lord is doing this, He's allowing this to happen, and I just have to make the best of a bad bargain if it's something unpleasant. And therefore, God has given me some intelligence. Let me think how to turn this into an opportunity. So usually devotee doesn't get angry. If he gets angry, this is not for his sense gratification, but it is for the service of the Lord, or sometimes out of compassion. So scriptures can make you peaceful if you read. If you read Srila Prabhupada's books, Srila Prabhupada's lectures, Srila Prabhupada's letters, Srila Prabhupada's conversations, it's really amazing how much Srila Prabhupada has left in 10, 11 years that he was preaching all around the world. I think we need few lifetimes to read this, to assimilate, to remember, and to preach. And it's a big loss if we don't study. Usually we study before we join and get very attracted to the Krishna consciousness movement. And when we join, there is so much service, there is bhakta program, there is morning program, evening program. In between there is service, and there is 2 meals. which last between 1 and 2 hours, and we have no time for reading. And when we want to read, because we have eaten so much, then we get very sleepy and we cannot focus. And then we think, okay, I'm going to read one day, I'm going to go to India, or I'm going to have a weekend where I will read. And these things rarely happen. But if you become curious what is in the scripture, and if you become aware that there is a great benefit from associating with pure devotees, whose lives are described here, and with the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, he said they are his emotional ecstasies, then you can work on consciously on developing a habit of reading. In the beginning, you have to push yourself. Then later on, you cannot live with it without it. You become addicted. Just like some devotees are addicted to computer games or to some other things, some taking some maybe coffee or something. But some devotees I know, I'm very fortunate to know such devotees who are addicted to reading Prabhupada's books. One of them is a big book distributor from Switzerland, Harinamananda Prabhu, who told me a couple of years ago when I met him, he said, I'm still reading Prabhupada's books. He became a little bit distant. He visits the temple, but not so active after our former spiritual master left. And he's not chanting regularly, but he said, I just continued reading. He has so much attachment to books and to reading Prabhupada's words. So he's very fortunate. But there is so many devotees who are in the movement and they don't read. They don't take time to read. They don't take time to listen. Nowadays, all the books are dictated. You can listen to them if you cannot read. You have on mobile devices, you have a Vanipedia, Gita base, Veda base, and you have apps where you can easily read Srila Prabhupada's teachings. There is a website with a blog with only Srila Prabhupada's letters, and there is Prabhupada Vani website with Prabhupada's lectures. Transcribed, and you can audio, you can listen to the audio, you can read the text, and you have a test. There is a test to see how much you have remembered and how much you have understood the lecture. So there is so much educational material. And if we want to provide complete service for devotees, then I want to give you a little system. I just sent it to Mother Bhagavati and she liked it. I just met her at the door. That we have a devotee care committee. This is a global committee of about 30 devotees, 5 sannyasis, and we work on developing devotee care all around the world. And we have a journal, we have published a few magazines about it, and trying to establish a counselor system, a mentoring system, Bhakti Vriksha, to care for individual devotees. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has started Namahata programs to have more personal care for people. And then I was thinking, okay, devotee care, what is devotee care? Sometimes we think devotee care is taking care of all elderly devotees or sick, devotees who are sick, who are ill, or devotees who are in big trouble. But in a broader sense, complete service to devotees, we may say, has 3 parts or 3 aspects. One is care, which means giving love and affection and support and listening for devotees, and taking care of their various needs, physical needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, intellectual needs. Then there is education, teaching devotees what is in Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Prabhupada has given so much knowledge from the Acharyas, from the Vedas, his own realizations. So teaching devotees to learn, helping them to develop a taste for associating with Srila Prabhupada, with his instructions, with his Vani. And third aspect is training, which means application of that knowledge. How to use it in different situations for every particular devotee. Every person is unique, so the application will be the same but also different for different people. So we have to develop the ability to give a good guidance for devotees, how they can apply what they read to their particular situation. That means time, place, and circumstance, or time, place, or person. Different people can do different things. So these three, care, education, and training, these three things will provide complete service for devotees. And the same thing we can apply to new people who are coming, and in this way we can help to change the situation on this planet, which is still not very good. But so many wonderful things are happening. I was here 3 years ago, I stayed with Vishnumurti Prabhu. He gave me a wonderful room, and I was sleeping there. And when I woke up one day, I realized I had my second time in my life a dream of Srila Prabhupada. And I had a dream of Srila Prabhupada Murti, which was completely cracked, like like this, like almost dissolving. And then this Murti became Srila Prabhupada, and he started talking to me. But I didn't remember anything when I woke up, what he told me. I only had a feeling that I have been neglecting him for all these years since I joined. And then after that, I started working more consciously on my relationship with him, and studied his teachings and understanding and following his instructions much better. And I'm still working on it to develop that. But one thing that we may be doing, and it's not good for our spiritual advancement, is that we are neglecting the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. We are indifferent to his teachings. We are maybe reading other books or mundane books or other spiritual books. Then we are ignorant of his teachings. We don't know what are his instructions. Then sometimes we are in competition with his teachings, especially if you are become a strong devotee, strong preacher, then you write your own books and things like that. And then it's maybe not conscious competition, but it may be a competition. So these things should be rooted out from our society. So what is your relationship with Srila Prabhupada? How he is a pure devotee who was sent by Krishna to save us. How often you think of him, how much you read his words, how much you associate with him, how much you study how he was dealing with people through his conversations and letters, how he was supporting, encouraging, and challenging people or defeating them. How much do you feel connected? When we become a little strong in Krishna consciousness, we have a tendency to become proud. And we have a tendency to want to become someone. As a coach, I used to encourage devotees to become a brand for Krishna. You become a brand, you become a name, you put a website with your name and preach to people and bring them to Krishna. But now I changed. I don't do this anymore. For example, in coaching, we have this simple question, what do you want? This is ordinary coaching. But in Vani coaching or spiritual coaching, we have a question, what does Prabhupada wants you to do? This is a better question. So now my service called Gita Coaching is being raised to another level called Vani Coaching. And this will be coaching with a heavy use or large use of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. So if you come to me for a session, you will have to read if you want coaching from me. Otherwise, we don't have coaching. You will have to read Prabhupada's books, find solutions, or get a clear picture, or see your problem or goal from different angles of vision. One devotee who is coordinating Food for Life in one South American country told me that she wants to preach in universities. She wants to do something else. She was doing Food for Life for many years, Jayapataka Swami disciple, very, very nice devotee, very serious. And I said, okay, look at Prabhupada's instructions about university preaching. Read everything and get back to me. I'm still waiting. So you will have to read and get back to me, and then we can discuss how you can apply it for your success. And then you will feel so empowered. You will feel so connected. Devotees become admirers of mundane authors, Wayne Dyer, Stephen Covey, and so on. And they become like a new religion. And our Acharya, who has given all kinds of amazing instructions, we neglect him. We don't have a taste. But that's what we are trying to do in Vanipedia, to facilitate your reading, to facilitate your research, to facilitate your surfing and browsing. And we want Vanipedia to become the #1 spiritual resource in the world. We're getting so many appreciations now from senior devotees, but it's not about appreciation, it's about that you can use it for your success. I don't know if you've heard it or seen it, but I just want to inform you, because we are working on it, even technical side, putting things that we have, I can't say we, I'm becoming a part of the team, but it's all credit of Krishnamurti Prabhu and hundreds of devotees. We have this section called A Day in Life of Srila Prabhupada. So for every day you have all the letters that he wrote on that day in 10, 11 years, all the conversations that he had, all the lectures that he had on that day. And in these resources you can find so many valuable instructions. If you just take your birthday and study what happened on your birthday, what Prabhupada preached on your birthday, you can benefit so much and you can become so much knowledgeable and enlightened. Also, this is a wonderful gift for anyone, birthday gift. I started last few days, almost every day some devotee has a birthday in the world. I know many people. And I send them, and 2 devotees, last 3 days, they sent me, this is the best gift I got on my birthday. So you have also video there, you have a quote on badges or buttons, just quote, and when you click you go to the whole lecture and to the source. You have letters, and yesterday 29 December 29 September I just clicked on the first letter. It was letter to the Jayananda, to see if there is anything in it for me, and I found something perfect, absolutely accurate in this at this point in time of my life, super relevant, and I want to share it with you. And then I will end. It's a letter to the Jayananda Prabhu, who was asking whether he should take sannyas or get married. So I'm not sure if this will continue to record if I go now to another page.
Most likely it will.
It will, okay.
If it will not, I have a recording of it.
Okay. He was just being selected as the president of LA Temple, Jayananda Prabhu. Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai. And he was asking Srila Prabhupada about his ashram. You can see how much Srila Prabhupada loves Jayananda Prabhu, how he writes to him. Regarding your dispute in your mind as to remaining a brahmachari, grihastha, or becoming sannyasi, there is nothing to be bothered with. Anyone who is in full Krishna consciousness and is dedicating his life for Krishna is already a sannyasi, even if he is a married man. If you like, you can become a householder, and I have no objection to that. Our Vaishnava philosophy instructs to become vidvati sannyasis. This means a man who knows things as they are. Therefore, a devotee who knows that everything belongs to Krishna and that he is the proprietor of all such, a devotee is certainly a vidvati sannyasi. Our philosophy is that we should accept things as prasadam of Krishna and nothing for sense enjoyment. Anyone who accepts things for sense enjoyment, even if he is externally a saffron-dressed man, is not a sannyasi. The Mayavadi sannyasi considers himself as God. This concept of life develops under illusion. When a person fails to become the Lord of the universe, it is like the sly fox who attempts to taste grapes and failing to do so says the grapes are sour. The Mayavadi sannyasins are frustrated beings in their attempt to enjoy the world. Therefore they say the world is fake or the grapes are sour. The world is not false. Krishna is the supreme truth and the world is his energy, therefore the energy of the supreme truth cannot be false. But we must know that this energy is inferior to his spiritual energy. As there are hairs and nails on the body and sometimes we separate these parts from the body, similarly when the material energy is separated from the service of the Lord, it is inferior energy. Inferior energy is not false but temporary. The same temporary energy, when surcharged with Krishna consciousness, it transforms into supreme energy by the supreme will. By this will, any energy can be transformed into another, just like electronic energy in a refrigerator or in a heater. To an ordinary layman, he sees cold and hot, but to an electrician, he sees electricity. So when one is engaged in the service of the Lord, that person is already in the spiritual energy, and the sannyasi and the real purpose of a sannyasi is to transform himself from the inferior to the superior spiritual energy. If your consciousness is absorbed in Krishna, you are always a sannyasi. So he had this doubt, and Srila Prabhupada dispelled it completely. Oh, I made a mistake. Sorry, it's a little bit new to this. Oh, it's still working. That's amazing. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions? Yes?
Thank you for your class. Inspiration. I want to kind of see 2 points. I totally agree that our relationship with Srila Prabhupada is very important and essential. It's by His mercy we're here. At the same time, that other devotees and other people writing books um, and other people, I think we can appreciate and take the good things. I mean, obviously, there's that balance, keeping Prabhupada where he deserves to be as our Lord and Master. At the same time, I feel putting other people down as invaluable, I don't think it would be fair, and I think we would just miss many opportunities to use many tools.
Mm.
And I was just thinking about this letter, that there is Prabhupada said, seeing everything for the service of Krishna and not for one's sense enjoyment. And as I found myself in my personal life, I cannot see that. I can understand it theoretically, and I can accept it as truth, but I'm not there yet. So when I'm not given a space to work, it's like either this or either that. And then you see it for sense gratification, or you don't see it for sense gratification. And I feel like I'm left out or shamed if I cannot, I read Mitchell Dawes' books. I have to see everything as Lord's propriety, but there's still desires. There's still so. Sometimes I feel that in our movement, not our movement, but our movement, it's Prabhupada's movement. And Prabhupada is very practical. He always gave devotees space where to work with. So I guess, I'm sorry, maybe I'm putting out some negative vibration. Maybe the question is how to have a healthy approach when you read Srila Prabhupada's books and he says, just like in this letter, that everything is meant for Krishna's enjoyment, not for mine. But we find ourselves to still have desires, which are, and we see this will be totally artificial for me to see everything, or how we resolve it with ourselves, how to not shame ourselves, how to
Shame?
yeah, because I'm so bad. I don't see it like I read in Prabhupada's books. I cannot follow it. I cannot see it like that. How to have a healthy space to work with it. How to have a healthy approach.
So how do you do this? What is your answer?
My answer.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think asking a person who is already gone through this
Very nice.
and who can relate to your situation. There's different kind of devotees. There's devotees who I wouldn't ask it advice because I see their lifestyle and their dealings don't inspire me. I still appreciate them that they're devotees. I still can take advices in other areas, but maybe in this area I would be not.
So ask someone who is in a similar situation,
Yeah, who has gone?
who has gone through this or is in a similar situation, but is still Krishna conscious and coping successfully. That's nice. It's a nice solution. Nice attempt to resolve it. The first process is Shravanam, and we don't do it enough. How many of you feel that you're listening, reading too much?
Too much.
There is no one, even one hand here. I'm saying this because it's recorded, and it's just you are honest. We are honest. We are not hearing enough, and when you hear more and more, then your consciousness changes. It's healing. And then when you are in a situation to make a choice, shall I enjoy a little bit, or shall I buy a karmi, or not? I don't like this word karmi, but shall I buy an ice cream from the shop? I'm not sure what's inside, but maybe it's okay. Maybe it's vegetarian, or when in a situation to make a choice and make a compromise, what decision do you make? How do you make it? And when your consciousness is purified by hearing, then you will make a better decision. Okay, any other question?
On this.
Okay.
Could I just maybe add to your point before you go to another?
This
Uh-huh.
is not. This is just connected to.
Um,
Con- but
you're saying that, you read one thing and you're not there yet, and should you just do it artificially, or, or you say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not there yet, but that doesn't make me immediately a demon.